This here is my 2021 Honda CRF300L. We are about to embark on a 11,000 kilometer trip with this and my son's bike, a WR250R Yamaha. And I thought we'd take a few minutes to go over how we set up our bikes for this trip and how you can set up a small bike for a long journey. Now, after announcing that we were going to be taking an 11,000 kilometer trip up to the Arctic Ocean on a small bore bike, we received a little bit of criticism, but mostly enthusiastic support for doing this on a small bore bike. I'm here to show you that with a few proper modifications, that this trip is entirely possible and arguably even more enjoyable on a small bike. Now, the first thing we need to address is that, in my personal opinion, there are some more necessary modifications and some less necessary. I've done a little bit of both, but I think the core of the bike is quite strong. So overall, I think that this is a good package to start with. One of the more complicated things to deal with is on a long journey like this is tire life versus performance. We'll be doing a lot of gravel, but also an enormous amount of highway miles. So we needed a tire that was probably more road biased than we'd like to run. So we've chosen on the front as a Moztaz Tractinator GPS. They are supposed to be good for roughly 20,000 kilometers. They're reasonably good on the gravel, very good on the pavement, quiet. And importantly, they're very, very durable. We do not want to change tires out if at all possible, so this one should do us fairly well. From there, the next thing that we've added to the bike is the tugger strap, which you'll see just below the headlight. It is just for towing purposes. Hopefully we won't need it, but it's better to have it and not need it. Above that, I've got an extended rally fairing made by Adventure Spec. It's pretty simple, but allows you there's a metal plate on the back that allows you to mount a few things, which as we come around front, you'll notice that I've got a iPhone 10 mounted, which will be my navigation unit. It's attached to a wireless charger that's powered up through a relay that I've put behind that mount plate. I also have Oxford heated grips, which I honestly consider almost essential when you're driving up north. It's just so much nicer, especially in the rain and the cold. And I've also got a USB outlet there with a Type A and a Type C for charging, and a RAM mount where I can mount anything like my normal phone or my battery pack that I use for charging the rest of my equipment to charge during the day. From there, my next piece is the giant loop handlebar bag. It is mounted above a 1.1 set of bars. I do not like the stock bars. They bend way too easy, so I've adapted these, moved them up into a more comfortable position. I'm running CR high bars. I find them comfortable. Inside that bag, I've got a tow rope, I've got a multi-tool, as well as some lens wipes just for quick access. Beneath that, you will see my Cherubi's extended fuel tank, which gives me about roughly 320 kilometers range, doing 110 or 70 miles an hour. And if I'm down onto gravel, I get up to about 420 kilometers range, doing about 80 kilometers an hour. I think about 45 miles an hour, just doing quick math. From there, to add a little more mileage, we also bring a 6-liter fuel bladder with us, made by Desert Fox. Works quite well. I've modified the front suspension of the bike. All of the suspension is modified, but here the front, I have K-Tech 20 IDS full drop-in cartridge replacements. If you're going to put a lot of miles on, or you weigh more than about 140 pounds, I suggest budgeting for at least some suspension. I'm not sure whether everybody needs it this much, but for myself, I ride relatively fast off-road, so it's important for me. Foot pegs. Next, I did buy some wider ones. They are just Amazon specials. I'm not doing huge jumps on this thing, so I'm not super worried that they're going to get bent out of shape or broken. From there, I am running a 15-tooth front and a 42-tooth rear. There's a variety of different combinations. I suggest this is actually a pretty good combination. If you're going to put a 15-tooth in the front, though, they are hard to find because nobody advertises them for the 300L, but the one I'm using is made by Sunstar. But to get it on, you need to modify the case saver by shaving it in maybe 5 or 10 thousandths of an inch. Other than that, you could achieve the same by modifying from a 14-tooth ratio, but I already had the 42-tooth rear, so I just added on to the front tooth. With that, though, you do need a 2-link longer chain, so plan for that. From there, I use a giant loop Great Basin, 68 liters of storage. It's got a nice back strap, so I can put this other waterproof bag, a Twisted Throttle D38 waterproof roll bag. Makes up roughly 100 liters of luggage. I honestly think they're probably a little optimistic with their measurements, but that's what it is. From there, you'll see that I have a tidy tail. I just like them. Honestly, those lights, I think, just get smashed off, so I don't worry about that too much. Now, while the list of performance mods that I've done on the list are small, I have done the 550 performance upgrades. I get a shorter velocity stack, a twin air filter, as well as a side door with a little bit larger opening and the 87 stock improved map. From there, I've got Turkana bags mounted to a Outback Moto Trek crash bars. Terrible name, pretty nice product in all honesty. Good crash protection, so I don't need to run the radiator guard, and these bags mount to it quite nicely. I have an enormous amount of stuff in there, and they are just mounted to the bags using 250-pound nylon straps, so I was pretty happy about that setup. Now, connected to those Turkana 5-liter bags up front, there is also a pouch in the back that connects via MOLLE to carry 2 1.5-liter water bottles. In mine, I have bear spray and water. Coming to the seat concept seat, I have the Comfort XL. It looks a little silly, but honestly, it's very comfortable, and I'm doing 11,000 kilometers on a 300 at 45. I don't have anything to prove to anybody, so make fun of me if you want. My next is probably my most controversial upgrade. I no longer run the CRF300L slipper clutch. We had a disagreement in the woods, and he left me stranded, so I took the clutch out and I've replaced it with a 5-plate CRF250L clutch right down to the basket. I honestly think the 300L clutch with the slipper is probably good for most people, especially if you're only doing highway. It is very smooth, but I'm a little bit abusive on the bikes in the woods. I do a lot of route climbs and rock climbs and things like that where you're in second gear and slipping the clutch, and it simply did not stand up. From there, I have an Amazon special skid plate that came with the bike. You'll notice that it's already held together with a 250-pound tie wrap because I've already cracked it in a few places. It's going to stay there until it falls off. After that, I will replace it. From there, I have frame guards because the paint on these rubs off quite quickly. It's not really for anything other than that, although I think it does look kind of cool. And a CRF rear brake cover, which can come in handy. Now for this trip, even though we're doing kind of a 50-50 with some bumpier gravel, I did decide to go mostly road bias tires because of the sheer volume of miles we needed to cover. I'm using a Dunlop Trailmax Mission. So far I'm liking it quite a lot. The tread pattern is relatively aggressive for a road tire, but I think it should be okay in all but the muckiest of terrain, and they are super thick and super heavy. They're 19 pounds. And but the tread pattern extends into the sidewall, which should help with all the shale that they use in the construction up north, because trying to avoid swapping tires, either because they're worn out or because they're slashed, is kind of a primary concern for us. We just don't want to do it on the side of the road, although we do have a spares kit with us. And by spares kit, I mean that we have a 21 and an 18 tube, some patches, air pump, etc., and some tire irons in case it comes to that, but hopefully not. Now, as we finish the video off, I did want to cover a couple items I missed in the go-around. I do have a K-Tech Razor R shock in the back, also set up for my weight. Also a huge improvement for the bike. That stock one, honestly, take it out. Don't even worry about it. Front, you could probably manage, but definitely get a rear shock replacement. I also have Enduro Engineering handguards. Well worth the money. They're relatively cheap and virtually bomb-proof. From there, I'm honestly quite looking to see how all of this gear holds up. We've tried it on some medium-sized trips, and we've been pretty happy with the setup so far. If you have any questions about other things that I've done to the bike or want more explanation of either the suspension setup, I do have a video detailing kind of my installation and some performance comparisons there. Or the 550 kit and how that works. I do try to keep the bike as stock as possible at this time. I may change it later. I don't know, engine-wise anyway. But honestly, I'm super excited to take this on a long trip. I think it will be a fabulous ride for me. And I honestly enjoy these small bikes because they encourage you to go to places you wouldn't go with a big bike. So until next time, the next video will be the WR250R setup.